tree with a fence around it. And as soon as I got into my tree house that I'd so lovingly prepared, I loved building tree houses. But when I was in there, what's missing? I'm sitting there, there's the African bush. What's missing in my tree house? People, right? Friends. But I cared so much about my house. I was afraid, what if I bring friends in and they spoil the way it feels? What if they're going to fight in the house? What if they're going to spoil it or damage it or something, you see? So my little 10-year-old self thought, ooh, I know. I'll put rules up on the side of the treehouse. And I remember nailing the rules up. Rules like, don't tell people about the secret location. It's a secret place. And I always had, be nice to each other. Just seemed basic, right? You're a kid, your friends are coming, be nice. Rule number 2, be nice to each other. And I remember this one distinct time when Daigoro, my Japanese friend, and Stuart were arguing about who should light the fire. And all I had to say was, hey everybody, remember the rules? Remember? We all agreed. And I love those words. We all agreed. Wherever people are gathered, we all agreed. We all agreed to be nice to each other. And what did they say? It's the rules of the house, right? They just said, oh, okay, sorry, Will. I wasn't being an asshole, wasn't being bossy. I was just calling us to an agreed higher standard, you know? And because it's the first thing they did when they came in is, hey, glad you're here, everybody, but please notice the rules of the clubhouse. So they just said, okay, Will, and then they cooperated and played nicely about lighting the fire together. And I was sort of reflecting on that story when I realized, wait, now I help people put core values on the walls in their office. And I started to help other people, as you'll see with my story, I started to help people with their culture. I started to help, which begins with a definition of our values. What do we agree together? Just like my treehouse. But then I started visiting companies, and what do you think I found? Every reception in every company, what do they have on the walls? Vision, mission, values. And then I would ask an employee, please tell me, what are our values in this company?
I don't remember.
Exactly. Exactly. So this is what we have found. All over the world, people know they need to have values. There they are on the wall, sometimes. Sometimes they're not even on the wall. But does anybody know them? And if they don't know them, can they use them? And they're missing the power of, for me, missing the power of, hey everybody, we all agreed. And this is how we can create a culture where people feel safe, feel they can be their best, most creative selves. So this is what we're going to talk about today. You see, I believe every organization has a culture. By default, there's some kind of culture. But until you've put words to it, how do you lead by that? And one definition of culture that I love is leading with values. What's culture? It's leading with values. And we're all leaders. If we lead with values, I think we'll see. If you lead with values, everything is a little bit better. We are living in the integrity of who we say we are. These are my values. This is what I stand for. And if I live in these values, please tell me. Give me a shout out. Lift me up. And that's very powerful between employees, for example. When the boss is not there, peer to peer, can they say, hey, great job, living our value of teamwork. Right? We all want to feel acknowledged. And that's the easy stuff. But do we also have the courage to say, hey, excuse me, can I just have a word with you? Okay, and I bring you aside and I take you over to the values. And I'm able to say, you know, in that meeting just then, when I had that great idea, and you said, that idea would never work here. That's the dumbest thing I ever heard. If I don't say something to you, what's going to happen next time we're in a meeting? And I have a great idea. I'm probably not going to say my idea, right? So what happens to us as human beings in that situation? We shut down a little bit inside, right? Tomorrow I'm not bringing my best self to work anymore. And my great ideas are not being heard. So may I just remind you that our value of creativity and innovation, where we say we listen to understand so that the best of us can come forward. So I love working here. I love working with you. But I want to be sure that we are living our values so that I'm bringing my best self to work. Isn't that a beautiful conversation? Wouldn't we all want that to happen? But what happens in most organizations is, I'm not going to bother next time. Why should I? I'm just going to take my paycheck, show up at 9, leave at 5, and do my job. And that is where we waste so much talent, so much energy. And that is where Gallup get their results from every year, which comes out with how many people are engaged in the workforce. And they do this all over the world, by the way. It's just the same. America, Middle East, Asia, Europe, it's the same number. You perhaps know it. How many people are engaged? Meaning they're showing up, they're involved, they're working, they're giving it their best. They don't care about the other jobs around because they like being here. How many people? Percentage? 40? 70? 30? 30? You can tell the consultants in the house, can't you? Because they know. They've been reading the statistics. Yes, only 30% of people are engaged, meaning 2/3 of people are disengaged, just showing up for a paycheck. And while we're paying them, they're looking for other jobs, right? So this is where our work comes from at the Culture Fix. And we're all about, we know you've got core values. And by the way, are they the right values? But also, do you have a valued culture? And we've figured out a system, now done this for hundreds of companies around the world, a system for going from simply having words on the wall that might mean nothing to a valued culture where people know the values and use the values, just like that example I gave to you and like in the treehouse. Yes? What do you think? Should we talk about this today? Leading with... Any questions so far? I'd like to have an interactive session, by the way. You'll watch the chat or something online. Maybe we'll get some questions there.
I have a question.
Oh, okay.
For the first question?
Yeah.
So leading with value is one definition of culture, but when you use the word culture more openly, right? Culture is made up of behaviors that manifest said, unsaid ways of working, and they sometimes kind of go out of values, right? For example, we have a culture of working late. We have nothing. We have a culture of hierarchy. We have a culture of doing this. So they have behaviors that manifest in the ways of working that overpower the undersaid values of the culture. Now, how do you define that? And how do they get to marry and interact with each other?
Yes, thank you. You're using a very important word, behaviors. And so what we believe is that you not only need to have values, but have descriptive behaviors that say, what do we mean by that value in our organization? So thank you. We're going to talk a lot about that, okay? But you're reminding me of something. What we're not talking about today is, we're talking about corporate culture. We're not talking about tribal culture. When we were in Tanzania last week, they're talking about tribe. Well, our culture, the people from this part of the country are like this, and this part of the country is like this. What about international companies who are trying to manage cultures from Los Angeles through Dubai, through Tokyo. Very different. We're not talking about those international cultures. We believe that we can represent all the diversity on the planet. One of our clients yesterday here in Dubai, Hello Chef actually. Do you know, anybody know Hello Chef? Yeah? The meal kit company? Yes. We've got a little bit of information we can share from Hello Chef who have done this. And wherever we go, of course, we want to talk about local examples wherever we can. They have 21 nationalities in their workforce of about 60 people. 21 nationalities. All the diversity on the planet is represented there, but they have an agreed set of values about how we interact. And one of the things I like about, so management systems focus a lot. KPIs, OKRs. I'm sure you guys do a bit of that, right? Goals, objectives, all beautiful stuff. When we set a goal and achieve it, we as humans love that, right? We feel amazing about that. That's super. But I find all those things are appealing to what? Our head. Culture, values, behaviors appeals to the heart. How about having people do something, be accountable, do what they say they're going to do, because I don't want to let my friend down. I don't want to let my colleague down. Because I care. Not because I've got to meet my number on a scorecard. I think when you put both together, a magic happens. So we'll talk about some magic today too. We will talk about behaviors. Let's go through some slides. Everything okay online? The sound is good? By the way, isn't this a fantastic setup? And the technology is amazing. Thank you for having us here today. And thank you for this conversation. Need to click, oh no, there we go. Okay, let's talk about it. So I'm an entrepreneur first, actually, and I was being blessed enough to have sold this company. And after I sold it, people said, can you come and help me with my culture? That's how I got started. But it's sort of evolved for us. So notice a couple of things here. Here's a value, deliver success. Here's descriptive behaviors. To your point, I think this is very important. What do we mean by deliver success? Well, we mean we care and we do what we say, right? Now, this is important because this is a language that employees can use between each other. And that's how we lead with values. We provide our team with an easy language to use. Now, can we make it even easier? Yes, we can. What about personifying the value? Here's Danny Deliver, the kind of UPS-looking guy who's got a cheetah, moving fast. We personified it. His name is Danny Deliver. And what we heard in my company was somebody saying to each other, hey, Danny Deliver wouldn't do that. And we know what it means. We don't have to say, hey, one of our values is deliver success. We care and we do it. Hey, Danny Deliver wouldn't do that. Come on, Shiraz. Or, Passionista here. Where's the Passionista in you today? Eve, where's the Passionista in you today? See, we know what it means. Yeah, if someone's sleeping in the meeting, that's not living our value of passion and energy. Yeah, just like that. So anyway, we kind of discovered this, and then we put it big on the walls so people knew. Today everyone's virtual. We have to have virtual walls. Nobody goes to an office anymore, except here perhaps. And then one Christmas, my team gave me costumes for each of these superheroes. And I thought, okay, I better go with this. And I was just going with the energy. I didn't come up with the costumes. My team did, you see. I thought, oh, so I just went with it. What's going to happen here? And next, we had a theme song, which doesn't play unless you click the... And this was our theme song. I'm looking at the faces. Are we smiling? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Cut. So, did you all feel a little spike in your emotion levels? A little happiness? Yeah. I think sometimes in business we're too serious and too boring. I just went with my team, and they loved this. We started meetings with a few bars of that. How do you think that lifts the spirits now when you're coming into a meeting? Whatever shitty call you just got off, or whatever happened at home with your spouse, All right, we're at work. This is our culture. Let's go. So, but then there's a serious side. So yes, it's fun, but there was a serious side. My team said to me one day, Will, we need a process, a guide, because we had Lex guides for everything in the business. We had a process, a checklist. That's the only way to scale, by the way. I think a lot of you are smaller start. The only way to scale your business is by having documented processes and follow them so that the success repeats and we get good at what we do. Somebody said, why don't we have one for the way we work with customers? Wow, what would that look like? And this is what they did. They went away and they came back with this. They chose Captain Client for clients come first. And so by the way, he ends up being an icon for our value, you know? And everywhere, here's the Client Lex Guide. We know what that means. Clients come first. And they wrote these things, which I think you can read them. But to me, that was wow. They've set a higher standard for themselves than I would have set. And these employees, do they look engaged or disengaged? Engaged, right? They cared about the company. They cared as much as I did about the way we were showing up with clients. Wow. And that's what made me think then, ooh, I think I can start to step back. My team has got this. My team is starting to lead. I don't need to bring all the energy, and I have quite a lot of energy. My team has got it. And I started to work on the business more, in the business less. I started to travel more. And when I came back, things were good. So I want to get across that culture's not just the soft stuff. It is. I think that's important. That we really see the humanity in our co-workers and our clients and our vendors. And we go for that heart-to-heart connection. By the way, beautiful eye contact here. I think eye contact's a cultural thing in Dubai. But you know, the Zulu greeting, Sawubona. Sawubona means I see you. It's not just hi, how are you? Fine, good. That's what we say in America. How are you? Good. Sawubona. I see you, meaning and when I see you, that's when, as a Zulu, you feel human. When you see another human. And the response greeting is Yebo Sawubona. I see you, seen me. Yeah, a South African is here, right? Yes. You know Sawubona. Yeah. So, yes, heart-to-heart connection, but also it's the tough stuff of accountability. Hey, one of our values here is set and exceed expectations. When you failed to deliver the success we promised, this was the specification for the project. When you delivered this late, you did not live up to the value that we espouse to here. It's the tough accountability too. And I just think if we appeal to people's hearts as well as the heads, it's going to be easier. So anyway, this company was on the slide. That's when I invested, and then I started the lead. I took over as president of the company, and I started doing my culture stuff, and we had 6 years of nice growth, and I exited there. And the main thing I did, we did some other great things. We had some good product and all that. Main thing was just leading with values and doing culture. So anyway, after I sold that company, some friends, other entrepreneurs in business, said, hey, Will, can you come and help me? And this is what I found values look like in most companies. They came up with some words, emailed it, and they thought their job was done. And I would go and I would ask, hey, can you tell me some of our core values?
I can go and look for it.
Okay. Do you know where? Where will you find them?
I'm not sure.
Yeah. So this is before, this is after. And again, value, descriptive behaviors, try and make them short and catchy if you can, evolve and solve, rhyming things. And I helped this company figure out that one of their values for go the extra mile is we save lives. And it changed the paradigm about the way they felt about their products and everything. So culture covers a lot. You were saying that. Culture, it sort of covers everything really. Yeah. And covers a lot of things. That's one example. And we'll see some others later. But look, the culture issues, if you're reading your LinkedIn feed, you're seeing all these kinds of issues and you're hearing about them. And if you have clients, your clients want your help. How do I retain my great employees? How do I attract more great employees? How do I get performance from my people? All of these things we can help improve with culture. And I like to think about it like this. Let's imagine these are the issues in your company. And you just want to turn the dial a little bit. You just want to be a little bit better at hiring. And then you want to be a little bit better at delegation and trusting your employees to do the work. You make your culture feel a little bit better. You get the idea? Just turn the dial a little bit. And wow, the magnification of that impact. 50 employees, all doing everything a little bit better. That's where things start to go great. More statistics. I think we've talked about this. I think you probably hear enough about this. But have I got? Yes, let me talk more about this one. Our highest ranking doctor in America, US Surgeon General, Dr. Vivek Murthy. He's very concerned about the health of our employees in the workplace. So much so that they've estimated this cost the US $500 billion. Again, turning the dial, if we can make our culture a little bit better for everybody in the company, then they're going to feel a little safer, right? They're going to feel a bit more connected. They're going to have more work-life harmony. They're going to feel like what they're doing is valuable to the world. They've got purpose, they've got meaning, and they've got opportunity to grow. If you can do that for your employees, you're already not only just addressing a public health issue, but starting to get people engaged so that they feel they're doing something valuable and they're feeling good. And they're not going to look for those other jobs. Lucky for us, the Culture Fix, which I'm happy to share with you today, is basically addressing these things. This is what we've figured out. He just put it better. So, welcome, by the way. Thank you for coming today. So grateful that you're here. Thank you.
Sorry for being late.
No. Okay, this is my last slide trying to convince you, like you needed it, that culture is worthwhile. Look at these statistics. These are out of this world, really. Companies with great cultures outperform by 3.3 times. Who wants to have a better culture based on that? Everybody's hand. That's right. What about this? Companies with high employee engagement, 23% more profitable. Great cultures, turnover goes down, profit goes up. Okay? Have we said enough about this? Right? I think you're here because you get the importance of culture. So, as I said earlier, one of the things that I like to think of, how do you lead with culture? How do you have a great culture? One thing is to lead, and we talked about the values on the wall. Think of yourselves as standing in the spotlight of who you say you are. So if you're leading a company and you've put values on the wall, you are saying, I live those values. And if I don't, I hope anybody, even the intern, can challenge me as a CEO if they see me straying from living the values. Let's say an intern comes up to me and says, hey, Will, I see up here one of our values is that we listen and we welcome ideas. I don't feel like you are listening and hearing my ideas right now. What would I say to them? What should I say to them? Sorry. What else? Tell me your ideas. What else might I say about that interaction? Yeah? I'm looking for a word.
You interact with us, thus we are not listening to you.
Yeah, yeah. I'm looking for a word though.
Values.
If somebody gives me feedback, if an intern, anybody gives me appreciation, did I hear it? Thank you? Yeah. Alfred, yes. That's what I hope we would all say if we got feedback like that, especially if it's referring to, I'm pointing at the imaginary values over there. By the way, Astro Labs has tremendous values. We're going to look at those in a minute. So, yeah, stand in the spotlight of who you are. And there are some, countries that struggle, frankly, with being able to do business purely in the spotlight. they have to sort of be a little bit in this gray area and do some things to get business, you know, maybe even in the standing in the shadows. But I know this to be true. If we can literally live in the spotlight of who we say we are and hold a candle up to the values, we feel closer to our integrity. We are stronger people. We look like great leaders to everybody else. We're a better partner, husband, wife, parent, and we have more peace. We sleep better at night. But it's really hard to do if we haven't defined the values. It's okay to say we have a culture. I have values. Okay, what are they? Please tell me, so that I can live in them.
You've been trying to say that defining the values is very important.
Thank you for your question.
I really appreciate it.
Yes, I'm saying values are important.
Defining them is important, but is it enough? Does defining them in a more active way, in a more engaging way, does that ensure that the people working in it will be following them?
No. Thank you. You've just teed up the rest of my presentation. Thank you. And I didn't plant him. That's absolutely right. That's what we've learned. Going back to a lot of people's values are empty words on the wall. And like Shiraz has demonstrated, people don't know them. So yes, that's what we're talking about today, is how do we make sure they're not just great values, but people know them and live them. There's a company in London. They do a lot of work for the British government. And we did some work for them, and we helped them. And they came up with their values being people, passion, and purpose. Now, it may not sound terribly original at first. People, passion, purpose. But that's what their culture is. It boiled down to those three things. We did the work. And then, of course, we put descriptive behaviors. What do we mean by people? What do we mean by passion? What do we mean by purpose? Then, they had some musicians in the company. They wrote their own song, which is one of the things that you've seen, the theme song. One of the things, they wrote their own song, and they got everybody around the company, many of them are virtual, to send in their voices reading lines of their core chart, we call it, their cultural definition. And the chorus, of course, was people, passion, purpose. And then the drum beat comes in. People, passion, purpose. Do you think, there's 170 employees in that company, do you think they all know the values? They all know them. They all know them. But as leaders, we can't just assume. We have to lead them, provide them with things like we're going to show you here, tools like the core chart, theme songs. It's all helps people feel and really live it. And then I can say, hey, excuse me, what you just said didn't feel like our value of passion. When you check out at 5 o'clock on Friday and don't care whether we get that proposal to the British government to transform their education system for 57 million people, that's not showing your passion. You know? Thank you for the question. Okay. What's next? Yes. We've talked a lot about the value of leading passion. I want to share this story with you. I think you'll appreciate why we're doing this. The Boeing company. Everybody's flown in a Boeing, probably, right? If it's not Boeing, I'm not going. That's what they used to say. Why? Because their reputation for safety was so untarnished. Do you remember the scandal that happened recently with the Boeing? What happened? No idea? No idea?
They were with cost cutting, and therefore the quality assurance went down, therefore the production quality in engines were substandard.
Yeah, and what happened?
They shut down.
At planes fall
They had planes fall. What happens when a plane falls out of the sky?
from the stock market.
People die. And the stock market. That's okay. Yeah, actually, that's a great demonstration, because I think you're going to see from this story, the CEO, he wasn't leading with values, he was leading with shareholder value. Not core values, but shareholder value. That's where his focus was, and people died. Let's review this. So yes, 2 planes went down with over 300 people in each plane. A Malaysian Airlines and an Ethiopian Airlines plane went down. And the first thing Boeing did was deny it. It's pilot error, they said. How dare they? Because this is where the story unfolded. I thought, ooh, I wonder what they are. And of course, you know, right? One of Boeing's values is going to be safety. There's safety. This is from their website. When it comes to safety, there are no competing priorities. We value human life and well-being above all else and take action accordingly. You lying sons of guns. They're lying. This is what they said.
This is lawyer sentence.
This is what?
Lawyer sentence.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Oh, and by the way, what do you think Boeing did at the end? I thought, ooh, they went through the big scandal, big fines, all of that. They were found to be guilty, emails clear and clearly making decisions. Opposite of this. What did Boeing do? Did they raise the company to this standard, or did they reduce the standard of the value?
They will raise to show them that HSE levels in their company, it's high standards.
Yeah, you'd think so.
Yeah.
I would like to think that after all this story, Boeing said, okay, from now on, we're going to live to this. No, they didn't. They reduced the standard. If you look at their values now, it says safety, but it doesn't put words like that. It's much more fuzzy now. This is what happened. Once they were found out, faces fine, big fine, lots of admissions, and this is the face of the CEO, by the way. Now see, I believe that if every time he had visited a Boeing facility or any team, and he was leading with values, standing in the spotlight, and he had said, if any of you ever see anybody compromising safety in this company and compromising our value of who we say we are, please text me, call me. If he had said that, those almost 700 people would not have died. Boeing's sales, by the way, who said it? Boeing's sales went, Airbus sales? Yeah. Look, Boeing's a great company, great products. They're back, but they slipped. And all they needed to do was be who they say they are. So you're all leaders, right? Most of you are starting your own companies or helping clients with their companies. Please make sure they don't just stick words on the wall and think their job is done, but they have a real process for making sure they're alive. And it starts with the top, by the way. People, whatever we do, people follow two things: the examples that we set as leaders and the incentives we put in place. So if we incentivize people living values, shout-outs, awards, recognition, and we show it every day, people will live the values. If we don't, if we send the email, these are our values, and then do nothing more, the employees will do nothing more. So we took our system, put it into a book, but we always start. One of the things that's different about us is we don't just do values at the leadership team and then roll them out and say, hey, everybody, these are our values. Get on board. We like to work with the whole company. And we start with a survey that shows us that in most companies, less than half the employees can name less than half the values. Meaning, I say, your values have no value. Right? Unless people know them, they have no value. So it starts there. How do you help with that? Help people know that? Well, ooh. You didn't see that. Darn. I forgot. Who here is close to Astro Labs and knows the Astro Labs organization? Eve? Are you avoiding eye contact with me back there? Alfred? Oh, you're Googling them.
My book part.
Huh?
I think that having anonymous feedback from your team is also important.
Yes, so
Because what happens in a lot of companies is that employees fake the culture, fake the belief into the culture for the fear of rejection from the managers and management company.
yeah.
So having anonymous feedback and having anonymous feedback from your team is also important to see as a management level to gauge, are you actually still on
Yeah.
without the team members having the fear of repercussion of they think you're failing.
I love it. Would you be willing to ask your employees anonymously what they think about your culture? Of course, right? Of course. Well, because that's what we recommend. We begin with a survey. It's almost 20 questions, and it has several questions. But some CEOs are very hesitant because they don't want to know what the employees are going to say. Oh, I'm afraid. I'm afraid to know what they're going to say. Then you should probably do it, right? Huh? Oh no, I agree. 100% anonymous. Now, if you have 12 employees, what happens is you can kind of tell. Oh, I know who said that. But we're working. You know, I was talking to a client this morning. He's got 153 responses from their employees, and there's some stuff in there that definitely shows room for improvement. Yeah, anonymous surveys, very, very powerful. And guess what? We recommend doing it as a leadership. By the way, we're going to make it available to you. If you want to try the survey with your employees for free and no obligation, just because we love this work and we want you to help you create an environment where your employees love where they work, love who they work with, and feel like they have purpose and meaning, start with this survey. And I've forgotten what I was going to say. But yes, it's anonymous. Yes. So yeah, absolutely agree with you. Oh, I know what I was going to say is we asked the leadership as one group, so maybe there's 6 to 8 of them, and then we asked the employees as another group. What do you think is the main difference we see between what the leaders think the culture is and the employees think the culture is? The main difference. Have a guess. The leaders think our culture is awesome. And the employees think our culture is meh. Yeah. 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 Yes, the quality of the leadership, absolutely, yeah. It does, it challenges that too. But, you know, there's ways that we can all learn. Like, leaders are not born. Leaders learn. We can all teach to lead with values, and then we can help those leader teams better. But they need to be open to it. So, yes. So a survey, most employees and most companies don't. Oh, I forgot again. All right. What are the values at Astro Labs? Who can give me one value from Astro Labs? Driven by outcomes? Okay. Allow me to use forehand. Driven by outcomes. Excellence. Yeah. Agility. Yes. What?
I don't say it.
I think there's a couple more. Teamwork. Yeah. Are these right, by the way? We'll see in a minute. Teamwork.
Customer-centric.
Customer-centric. Okay. And customer-centric. Let's see. Ooh. So, did we know about sustainability? Did we know about future forward? Yeah. And there's a couple here. Do we have excellence? No, excellence is not one. So, this happens everywhere, by the way. That, you know, again, we don't know are the values. Are the values on the walls, by the way, somewhere? No. So, but it really helps. Let's say you're in a meeting, right? And one of our values is future forward, and somebody's saying, I know it's hard to grow. That's hard work. I got enough on my plate. No, I'm not going to look for a new facility that's bigger. We're already too busy, you know? Hey, excuse me, one of our values here is future forward. Is the next slide have the descriptive behaviors? No? Is it? Well, okay, but what we do know when we looked at these is Astro Labs has done a great job with these values, by the way. What do you think most values are and most companies are? And we've seen this a lot this last couple of weeks, going through Africa. And yeah, what are the values usually?
Excellence.
Excellence. Passion. Well, yeah, passion, yeah. Huh? Integrity, honor, integrity. Yeah. This is what most people, many people have trust. Really? But look at these. These are really cool. Impact driven. By the way, if you can make it a 2-word one, it gives it a bit more punch. Future forward, impact driven, community centric. I love that. And you knew that one from somewhere. How did you know that one?
It's one of the values we have now.
And why that one came to your mind?
Because we always put customers first, especially in the healthcare industry.
Okay. So you're living the value, right? So that value, so you would say, yeah, this is definitely one of our values. I feel this value. What about sustainability? Is Astrolabs really sustainability? Do we? No? You say no? Not really. I mean, how? How is it? And what do we mean? Well, read us for sustainability. And so, by the way, you did a great job with these and a great job with the descriptive behaviors.
We believe every transformation is an immense opportunity for learning. By that, we design our offerings to generate valuable insight that can elevate the sectors, ecosystems, businesses, and entrepreneurs involved.
Yeah. Those are really good words. And I hope the employees might be able to use some of those words in everyday language. Quick story that I think helps to illustrate the point that's been made here. These were the values of a company in London. The CEO is called Alex, and he's in the home hospitality business. These were his values, but you see this is quite a lot, 6. People can usually remember 3 or 4 in our experience. 3 or 4 is a good number. 6 is 1 or 2 too many. And then there's quite a lot of words here, you see. These are a lot of words to work with. How does somebody know all of that? And when we did a survey, where we always ask qualitative and quantitative questions, here's a quality question. Word clouds show the word that's been used the most in the text responses. So I encourage you to try this with your employees. And we were seeing this word driven and drive coming up. Interesting. And by the way, you could feel it in this company. Because we do interviews too. You could feel the drive in the employees in this company. So we had the occasion to, by the way, nowhere here. See, the management team did a retreat, spent a couple of hours. What do we value? This is what they came up with. But by not doing the diligence of the discovery of what really exists by asking all the team members, you miss beautiful nuggets like this. We asked the CEO, wait, did you know this about your company? Where do you think this comes from? And he remembered. Oh my gosh, it just sort of hit him like that. I remember when I was 7 years old, and my mother said to me, Alex, I'm worried because you're very clever, but I'm worried that you won't make anything of yourself in this world. And the reason I say it is because your father was also very clever, but he never became the man he could have been. He never became the leader he could have been and had impact on the world. And I'm worried about what you will do because you're clever and you have potential. What will become of you? And from that moment, he said, I was driven to succeed. And that drive showed up because I was afraid of failure. I was afraid of failing. Oh. And by the way, values often come back to a childhood experience for us like that. Less than 12 years old is usually when our metal is made, our values are made by experiences like that. So then we started to embrace it. And we took drive. Now, these are the new values. We went from 6 to 4, and we used these values. And it just so happens that, if possible, if they can work into a sentence like this, now we've got something easy that people can learn and remember. We drive forward, evolve, and take pride together, combining all the values. And we reduced all those wordy things from drive to simply, we drive forward by working hard and focusing on results, taking charge and being accountable. Right? So, and you can see the rest here. And we also believe it's really cool if you can have an icon for everyone. Here's the icon of this guy's, and this is their culture: hiking, mountaineering, adventuring. So we capture this here, and it gives you a feeling, doesn't it? Just like the music, gives you a feeling. And here's the icon of the chap driving up the hill. So we really recommend doing that. And listen to their theme song and how the CEO used this. Always have the lyrics, by the way, for your theme song. Turn your magic on, dream away. We are legends every day. Under this pressure, we are diamonds. The CEO does his launch, and then he stands up and he says to his employees, he says, that's our theme song. And to me, you are legends every day. And I know there's a lot of pressure in this company, and we drive each other very hard. But that's because we are all diamonds. Right?
Hold on to this psychology rooms.
How do you think his employees felt that day? They felt like, yes. Now, we're going to talk about the Notice and Nominate scheme, the recognition and reward. They have two kinds of awards that they give employees who live the values. One is from the leadership team. If they see a behavior and they award it, it's the Diamond Award. If peer-to-peer, you lift up you, shout out for living the value, that's called the Legends Award. And the other thing that CEO did that day was tell the story. Now, this is a tough guy, tough-ass CEO. He moved to London, but he's from Kazakhstan. And he's very introvert, kind of stony, right? His employees, that's all they knew of Alex. All they knew was drive, drive, evolve. Alex told that story about when he was 7 years old. He was vulnerable for that for the first time. And what do you think the employees said was their favorite moment of the day? It was, yeah, the music was great and the legend's speech was great, but their favorite moment of the day was when their CEO took his armor off and told that story when he was 7 years old. Yeah. We could all learn a lesson from that as leaders. How can we be vulnerable and make it okay for our employees to be vulnerable? And this is culture. And this is leading with values. I hope we have... I got it. Yes. So that's an example from London. Let's talk about this Dubai business. Has anybody used their service? Yes? What? No. Okay, not yet. Sorry. Yes. I know. Do you remember getting your first box?
I didn't get a box because I can cook myself well.
Oh, okay. I thought somebody... Has anybody used them? Hello, chef? Yeah?
I know this company.
Yes. Okay. They're growing very fast. And look, they have some cool things here. So their purpose is to help people lead easier and more fulfilling lives. Their purpose is not about, putting food on the table, or it's about helping people lead easier and more fulfilling lives. Great. If you can put words to your why, if you can define your purpose, now I imagine this individual here, when he's packing the box, he's not just thinking of all the ingredients there, the recipe there, done my checklist, everything's good. We hope he's also thinking, this is going to make a difference in someone's life. When this hits the table in someone's kitchen for that family, they are going to be having an easier life. They don't need to shop. They don't need to think, what am I doing for dinner tonight? We're making their lives easier. We're giving them time back. We're making it more fulfilling. I have done this with my partner at home. It's super fun in the kitchen, cooking that stuff together, chopping, Yes, easier and more fulfilling lives. Do that. And now your employee, he's not looking for somewhere else to work. Yeah, the guy down the road might pay him 50 cents an hour more. If we can get him realizing this every day, and then feeling like he has values, so he can like who he works with, where he works, have purpose, we're providing for this gentleman a fantastic life. I wanted to ask you because they've had tens of thousands of customers now.
28,000.
28,000. Thank you, Shiraz. Okay, 28,000.
Yeah.
And every customer gets a handwritten note, a thank you note, in their first box. They've written 28,000 of these, by hand, by the way, for every client. Why am I telling you this story? Because again, their value is people first. This is what their descriptive behaviors are. Short, easy to remember, be humble, provide for, and so on. But we need an icon, an image, because a picture tells a... Thank you. I thought I was going to fall over for a minute. Picture tells 1,000 words. It's really cool if we can bring imagery to help lift a value up and make it alive. Not just words, but that. So they use that image for that. And you get the idea here. Positive spirit. Look at this image here. By the way, this is the company that has 21 different nationalities working for them. All religions and diversity is represented here. Not only is this picture showing what? What is this what do you see in that picture?
Unity.
Unity? Yes. Diversity? Yes. What else? Relationships. Yeah. But this is not a stock photo.
Yeah.
Real internal photo of real employees.
All of them. by the way.
All of them. Yes, all of them are. We've met them all yesterday in the workshop, right? But look what else. Enjoying a meal. That's our culture, right? Is eating. But they're eating from the same plate. They're eating from the same plate. I think these images are so powerful for describing our culture. And yeah, you can almost just have the picture without those words, you know, and you're feeling some emotion about it. And it's human. And this is culture. And this is leading with values. From our very own Dubai company. Round of applause, come on, for Hello Chef, fast-growing, entrepreneurial company, just like we want to be. Yeah. Yeah. Any questions? Let me have...
Question.
Thank you.
So, describe this ideal situation, right?
You have a book yet? No. Okay.
So, it's not only leaders, thank you. It's not only leaders who should decide about their culture.
Mhm.
Employees should be engaged. So let's say leaders engage employees and they have this design together.
Yeah.
Maybe but then another employee will join. And it's important for the employee to feel that he brings to these values. So what are your suggestions about that?
Yes, okay. So a little bit about our process there, or our recommended process, I should say. We begin with the surveys, right? We talked about that. So surveys to everybody in the company. 20 questions, quantitative and qualitative. Starts to get everybody involved. Instead of just this being the leadership team telling us, they're asking us. And then we do these word clouds. You saw the word clouds, right? Which show what words are coming up most, what values are coming up most. Then we do some interviews. That's the next stage. Do some interviews to probe what did we learn here and see what else people could say. Then we do some workshops. We actually do 3 of them. About 30 days apart, workshops where, now we can't book everybody in the workshop, so we have a culture team. And the culture team consists of the leadership and then what we call the culture champions. How do we know who the culture champions are? One of the questions here in the survey is, who in your company do you admire the most and would love to clone and lives the culture of our company? And there's always a few names show up here. So put them with the leadership. Now, when our process is done here at the end of this whole process is everybody, when this came up yesterday, everyone, because we had the launch yesterday, Hello Chef, of these new values, everyone's thinking, yeah, I did a survey for that. Yeah, I was interviewed. That's me. Yes, I was in a workshop. Yes, I saw my friend, this trusted person who's not a leader, who's just working every day, maybe here. I know they were on these workshops, and they're going to come back and live it. They feel an association with this, and that's why we do it. So thank you for asking. It's not just about the leaders; it's about them. I think there might be some other pieces in the process here, but then we start to bring in the tools. After this launch, we start bringing in the tools, and they're all laid out in the book, and I can't talk about them all today, but does that answer your question?
It was more from the onboarding process that if new team members are coming in.
Oh, that's what you meant.
Yeah, so after all participated, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
There still would be new people joining.
Yes.
And they missed this part, right?
That's right.
How do you make them?
Okay, lots of things we do there. First of all, before they even join, we screen them using interview questions, scenario-based interview questions. Do you know what I mean by that? It's the what if. Where did we get that question from? We reverse engineer a story that we gathered here. Because one of the questions we ask is, what are the stories, the legendary stories from this company? They had one. They called it the weekend from hell, where everything went wrong. The printer stopped working, so they didn't have these. The files went bad, so they delivered the wrong delivery file went out. Everything went wrong that weekend. But they still, every meal, they were also 300 kilos short of sweet potatoes. But every meal still landed on time for every family, complete. But they had to fix a lot of stuff and work their ass off. They had to do whatever it takes, right? They had to simplify. They had to show a positive spirit. So that's how they did that. And so that story then is, we turn that into a question. Hey, what would you do if this happened? It's 4 o'clock on Sunday. You thought you were going to dinner with your family. And crisis happens. And then when they answer, of course, we don't just take the answer, we probe. Oh, why would you say that? And who would you do it with? And how would that make you feel? So that's even before they join. Now, when they join, now we certainly onboard them. We do what we call the core values address, the core values speech. And if the CEO or the HR person basically talks through this and these values, and then they hand them something like this that they can keep at their desk. And then, of course, they enter our tools where we do the notice and nominate, the shout-out scheme, the catch and correct. We talk about them every meeting, and we really integrate them like that. There's a number of things that we do on that.
And specifically the core workflow tool.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so that's going to encompass everything. So from onboarding to actually how to live it day by day. So that tool helps you out in that question. Which is a tool which actually shows you what you're going to do every day to ensure that the values, even if somebody is coming from outside as a new employee, they can follow it.
Yes, this core workflow has the way the work flows for the company, and then we put the values in here. Whatever it takes, simplify, and then so people are living these values too in the workflow. Sorry, I had a question back here.
Well, I think they kind of touched on it. I was trying to find out how to measure if the values are implemented.
Okay, we have a few ways that we measure it. That's coming up, right? That's coming up. How we measure? Please, if I don't answer your question, challenge me. Okay?
Yeah, I have a question. So, as you mentioned, whatever it takes, and it is mentioned here as well. So, whatever it takes for what? To serve to the client, and the first value is also mentioned as people first or customer-centric, customer-focused.
Yeah.
What about the employees? So, what I'm getting here is there are so many delivery companies here in UAE. They have these values as whatever it takes,
Yeah.
people first or customer first. So to achieve that, the delivery boys are riding even in so hot climate,
Yeah.
and even if it is heavy rain, and they are stuck somewhere in the water because they just have to achieve whatever
Yeah,
is
yeah.
onto them. So how do we deal with that. So here, by these values, customers are happy, but employees are not internally happy.
Okay. Fantastic. Great question. Now, actually believe this is a truth. This is a truth. And the best set of values actually have some tension in them. It's a good point. How do you have whatever it takes and put people first? Well, it is possible. Think about, I often hear this with like individual achievement and team achievement. Think of a Navy SEAL unit or a Special Forces unit. They have to have both individual skills. Maybe they're out scouting on their own. They've got to be good at being on their own, but they also have to be good at working as a team. And that's why we want to screen people. We want to find people who do believe whatever it takes and can do this value here. So as an example, the opposite of what I said here, where everybody worked hard to deliver, maybe they would say, maybe there's somebody here who, I don't know, their spouse is having a baby. So then somebody else steps in, go be in the hospital. Go, I've got you. I will do it because I'm putting people first. But we're still going to do whatever it takes. Or the flooding and storms are so bad that we just email all our customers. Sorry, one of our values is whatever it takes, but we can't deliver today because of the storms and all the flooding. I hope you understand. We want our drivers to be safe. We're putting our people first today. We want people to be safe home with their families. The best values have tension, but you can still live the values in a beautiful way. It's a great question, though.
And also, Will, while we were discussing this, so we debated a lot of do the right thing, right? So if it's the right thing for the rider to go out, then we have to do it. If it's not, then we don't have to do it. So again, there were workshops where people were involved and we shared case studies and then the stories do come up.
Yeah.
If it is the right thing to do, then the company should do it. If it's not, then the rider should not do all of it.
Yeah. How much time do we have, by the way? How are we doing on time, Alfred?
We're good. We're good.
10 minutes, or have we got more than 10 minutes?
Good more than that.
Okay. Well, okay, so cool story. Measurement. You asked, how do you measure culture? Well, we have a couple of ways that we do this, but here's question number 14 in this survey that we're going to offer you. What score would you give the company for having a great culture? People say you can't measure culture. Actually, you can measure culture. In fact, you can use really MPS to measure almost anything. Are some of you using MPS to measure in your company? Yeah. What score would you give the company having a great culture? Promoters, Pat, look, this company had no detractors. Amazing. Only 34 employees, but still no detractors. High score. I'm thinking, yikes, how am I going to make that any better? Because I'm guaranteeing them a return on investment. Well, when we were done, just 4 months later, look, November to March, they're almost at 90 now. Very often these scores are negative, by the way. We've got some clients, all right, minus 40 on this score. What does that mean? That means they've got more detractors, more people scoring the culture 6 and below than are scoring it 6 and above. More detractors. But honestly, just do these things that we're talking about and they can absolutely take that culture into positive territory by a lot of points. So that's one way we measure. And then that measures the group, right? That measures the population. But we also have a measurement, I don't know if it's coming up, but soon we have a way to show you how we measure individuals for their alignment with values, okay? That answers part of your question? Yeah. Okay, look, we can't talk about everything today, but just in the time we've got left, just pick one cool tool from these 3 areas that we talk about in terms of bringing your culture alive, making it thrive, and use it to drive performance. Yeah, it's coming. It's coming. It's under one of those. It's coming. Yeah. Core score. Core score. Core score. This is the one for measuring, and we'll play that game in a minute. So, anyways, a number of tools. We can only have time to cover 3 of these today. Let's get going. Here they are. core chart, notice and nominate, and the core score. Think about it like this way. We want to have great values, looking good, nicely visually shown. Then we want to give people a chance to recognize each other, peer to peer, and then we're going to measure them. This is what a great core chart looks like to us, where you've got your value, descriptive behaviors, maybe popping some keywords, because we want the language to be easy for employees, right? Care, compassion, kindness, respect. Then put an image of it. Integrity. I don't love integrity as a value, but this company was determined to have it. So how do you depict that? You put this man standing stoically on true north in the granite of a chisel hill in the driven rain. I shall not be moved from my position of integrity. So yeah, the words are okay, but when you put it with an image, it just gives it this lift, you see. And of course, we want to also speak to our why. Why are we doing what we're doing? Put a number and a date so it's real and we can count our way there. And this is not a number of revenues or profits or employees or locations. It's a measure of the goodness we do for the world. Our why. Remember Hello Chef? Their measure is, oh, I actually forgot to show you that. It's okay? Close, don't go back. Okay. Well, up here on that core chart was we're going to deliver 5 million magical meals by 2032, I think it was.
In a year.
In a year, yes, in a year. Why do I care so much about images? Think of the infographic and this idea that when you combine words and visual elements, we augment communal intelligence. That's culture, augmenting communal intelligence. So we've done lots of these now. You've seen this one. You've seen this one. What will yours look like? I hope you'll think about doing this for your team so that you can lead with values.
We also will share we can share the presentation with you just so that everyone can.
Yeah, if you want to, absolutely, yeah. All right, that's all we're going to talk about on the Alive one, is have your values carefully worded and make them look amazing. And now let's look at the next, take a tool from Make It Thrive, the Recognize, Nominate scheme. I hope you have a meeting at least monthly, maybe even weekly, where your team can just say, I saw Shiraz yesterday living our value of integrity, because he refused to compromise our standard of quality when he was shipping our product. But also you need a formal scheme like this one here. This gentleman started the project, started his company with $228 in 1970 something on a credit card. They're almost a $100 million company now. And they give an award, one per department, of $250, because after tax, they're left with about $228. And it's called Project 228. And so we're tying the values to the founder and the way this thing began. A great story like this can help you have a great notice and nominate scheme. Here's the values. I showed you these values actually before. This is Sabre. Here's empowered. We evolve and solve. Another little example. Maybe you've got a value like get it done. You get nominations written up on the board each week. And then you give an award. No cost here. This is free. You give an award for Scotty for get it done. See? You buy this on eBay for $5. You get it done. Now, who thinks this is silly? It's always somebody. Yeah, rubbish. Well, this CEO, he'd been doing this for a few months. And one town hall, he had his weekly meeting, and he didn't bother. He said, he's a visionary. Visionaries get bored easily. He was bored of it. So end of the meeting, he goes to his office. 3 employees come outside the door. Mike, his name's Mike Pitsalis. The company is Versatis, Canadian company. Mike, where's the awards? It's important to us. We have a sense of pride when we can keep this at our desk for a week because my teammates lifted me up and I got the award for Get It Done this week, represented by Scotty from Star Trek. Yeah, this stuff matters and costs very little and it helps your employees live your values every day. And look, if Hello Chef just stop there, hey everybody, these are our values, in 6 months, nobody will know them. They won't care. Something like this keeps it alive and thriving every week. That's all I'm going to say about Thrive, okay? There's more in the book. Let's take one thing from Drive. And for my friend at the back, what's your name, by the way? Cecil? Cecil, I didn't give you asked a good question. This is how you can measure everybody, your employees, your candidates. If you're recruiting somebody new, you can measure them here using this tool. But I like doing it in a situation like this, for customers. And because, you know, as leaders, we're not just leading a company, we're leading a culture. What's the difference, do you think, between leading a culture and leading a company?
Culture is going to lead you.
Well, yes.
And lead your culture correctly.
Well, I definitely agree with that.
Culture creates attachments. I mean,
Yeah, which people, by the way? Employees? But as leaders, who else? What other people? Our employees? Yes, yes, exactly. When our employees go home at night, are they leaving the values at the door? I hope not, because if their values really are in their heart and they live in our values, they take it home to their families at night. But who else? What does it take to run a company and do a business? Thank you. Is my hearing bad? Customers, yes. So if this is our company, and we supply to customers, and if you're in B2B, by the way, our product often ends up at our customer's customer. We provide a service that finally touches our human heart at the next level down. What about upstream? Suppliers, vendors. If this is our company, we're not just leading a company. We're leading a culture. It's a much bigger job and a greater responsibility. But imagine the goodness we can do for the world. If we are showing people, if we're standing in the spotlight and we have values, whether they're a vendor or a customer, we can call them to account on that. And try this, by the way, with your next vendor. Some people have, like tech companies, sometimes they have a big, important vendor. They can say, hey, the kind of vendor that works best with us is somebody that lives our values. Yeah, we've got a contract, but when we hit a bump in the road, I'm not going to pull that contract out. I'm going to talk to you about our values and how we don't feel you're living our values or are living our values. Yeah, we're leading a culture and our values go this way and that way. Now let's play the core score game. This for customers. Who's in the B2B space here? Yes? And how many customers do you have?
Handling, let's say, releasing the data, standard weights, in which, let's say, 10, in which category.
But can we talk about your customers? How many customers do you have? 10. Oh, 10. Great. So that's right. Most of us in a B2B, smaller, growing company, we have a small number of large customers. Okay? So we're going to do this here, basically. And you don't have to tell me the name in case... You can tell me the name? Okay. I'd like the name of your best customer.
My best customer is called Metallica.
Metallic? Oh. Dun, dun. Yeah. Okay. Metallica. Let me say that. Now, do you have values, by the way?
Yeah, we have.
You have values. Can you remember some of them?
Let's say we cannot call it values as we call it like let's say company strategy.
A company?
Strategy. It's to do the growth.
Yeah.
Of the,
Okay.
And now in sales as well.
Okay. Can I say growth is one of your values?
Yeah.
Okay. Growth is one of your values.
The growth is in terms of two things.
Yeah.
We have it in volumes and sales.
Okay.
Selling.
I hope this is going to work. We'll see. Because if growth is a value, I say it doesn't matter where it is.
Exactly.
It's just a value. Because what about the growth of your employees?
Yeah.
The growth of your customers? The growth of your leaders? You know? Education. This could all be called growth. So let's just say you have a value of growth.
Second one, we call it positioning.
Positioning. Okay.
Value.
Yes.
Because when you have a high positioning, you evaluate yourself among the others.
Okay.
That's, you have a certain level of quality.
Yes. Positioning also is quality. Love it. Give me one more.
I have to squeeze my mind.
Yeah, I know. See?
Yeah.
This is what we're talking about.
And
Do we know our values? Because if we know them, then we can more easily lead with them. But
one more, we can say varieties.
variety?
Yeah.
Okay. Variety. I like it. Thank you for doing this, by the way. Okay. Metallica is your best.
In me.
And I don't like to use a judgmental word like worst, but give me the name of your worst customer.
It's
Oh.
Al-Abra, let's say, in Pakistan.
Okay. Can I do it like the Alabra
Yes.
in Pakistan? Okay. Let's play this game. Metallica. So 3 is they live your value all the time. 2 is most of the time. 1 is some of the time. And 0 is none of the time. Okay? Does Metallica live your value of growth all?
Yes.
Yes, all the time. They score a 3. What about positioning? Do they live your value here?
Number 2.
Number 2, good, yeah. What about for variety?
Let's say number 2 as well.
Number 2 as well. Okay. So they have a score of 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now, what about Alhambra?
Al-Abra, 1.
1,
Positioning 1.
1,
Variety 0.
0. Yeah. So their score is 2. By the way, I do this all the time. I do it live in workshops all over the world. Yes, you can use this to measure your employees the same way. We do it for employees, for candidates, for vendors, but customers is an easy one to do live, right? Now, next question is Metallica a profitable company for you?
Absolutely.
Absolutely, yes. So, profitability, check. Now, is Metallica high friction or low friction to do business?
High pressure.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
No, I mean,
Because we are, my
Oh.
business model, I'm giving that rating in a couple of AE markets.
yeah.
Definitely.
So it's hard work, high friction. Okay. Usually these clients are also easy to work with. They're good to work with.
Actually, yeah, it's easy to work, but in our standard of the companies, it's Italian companies, we use different methods. But,
Okay. Okay, let me use the word easy then. Are they easy to work with or not easy to work with? Easy to work with. I think so. That's usually the case. So I'm going to say easy button, yes. Alhambra, profitability?
Let's say 50%.
Okay. Okay. So 50%. With. Difficult to handle. Yeah. So,
No, I'm sorry for unfortunately. I must say it's difficult to handle because of my skills. No, the economic, the situation of the country is difficult to maintain.
Okay,
Profitability or
yeah, I get it. Look, this is very quick, right? And it's kind of, but who does your team like working with? Does your team like working with Metallica or Alhambra?
my team's interaction directly, easy to interact with it.
Yeah, that's right. So try this with your own, especially if you're in B2B, try this with your own companies. And what you'll find in life in general, and even especially in businesses, companies that are aligned with your values are easier to work with. You make more money. Why? Because there's alignment with values. The ones that are not, and very often the recommendation is, what would your life be like for your team if you actually unhired, didn't work with them, if you could choose to, and you just do more work for fewer, better customers like this. And then you have a salesperson who you say, go find more customers like this. And you can change your business overnight. Less work, more money, your people are happier, and it's easy decision making if you use values. Yeah.
So I would like to add the leader's targets.
Achieving the leader's talents.
Targets.
Targets. Yes, that's right.
Before
Yes,
this-
you're more. Yes, you will be happier here. Who the number one beneficiary of this? There's lots of beneficiaries. Even it's better for them. But you sleep better at night.
Yes.
You have more money.
Absolutely.
Yes.
That's what I
Yes. Okay, so I need to watch the time, but that's another answer. And by the way, we're going to make this available to you. If you want this tool, oh, where's my QR code?
Well, this is it.
Okay, can you find the QR code? Hit the QR code, and you can go and get this. It's a Google Doc. Please make a copy for yourself, right? And then you can use this for your customers, vendors, employees. How aligned are they with values? And we're measuring. Yes.
So if you have employees that keep
Yeah.
the values at work, but when they get off work, they don't keep the values.
Yeah.
How do you
Well,
support them?
yeah. The question is, what if your employees live the values at work, but they don't live the values outside of work? I mean, really, the right answer for that is if they really are values, then they live them wherever they are. If they're just living them at work, are they acting? Are they pretending? Or can you give them some feedback? So that's one of the beautiful things about coming up with this number is we can give them feedback. And we can say, and the feedback needs to be very specific. I'm giving you here's a 2. I'm giving you a 2 for variety, not a 3, because last Thursday, I saw a time where instead of making assessment of all the variety of choices, you just did the same thing you always do. So that's why I'm giving you a 2. Do you remember that? And they can say, oh, yeah, thank you. I see what you mean now, yeah. And you can help train people to live the value if they're in this yellow zone, let's say. If they're in the red zone, by the way, scoring a 2 out of 12, they're never gonna be what you need them to be, which is in this one here. They're never going to be up here, you see. We want to take people from the previous course score and put them on this axis for alignment with values and performance. Just like I did here. Alignment with values and performance. This is what I use for performance. And then what we're trying to do is move everybody in this top right box. This is the magic place. When your team is all aligned with your values and performing, that's where you're living the life this gentleman wants. Making money on the beach, and I can be gone for 2 weeks, and my team is keeping everything good. And enjoying themselves. If you're here, you're still in the weeds, you're messing around with this person. This person, by the way, you're talking about them in your leadership teams. Guarantee. If a name is coming up all the time in your management meetings, not for good stuff, but because of problem stuff, it's probably this person. Put them on here, this scale, and here, unhire them. What's your team going to say when you unhire somebody in this down here? What's your team going to say to you? Appreciate. Thank you. What took you so long? Finally. And even if there's less people to do the work, they will do better work for you. One of the things, we have some clients who, if you're losing great players here, one reason might be they are so sick and tired and pissed off at working with this person. That's why as leaders, we can't just say, I'm paying you, do your job. We need to be leaders. And lead with values is the best way. Unhire this person, hire one here. Unhire these, hire one here. Move your population up here. This is where we all want to live as entrepreneurs.
And also, what Phil said, it's not just a 2-hour session that we're going to have.
Close it out, bring it back in.
Culture,
Yeah.
fulfillment journey, it will get you there. So let's say if some team members
Oh,
are
yeah,
not
whatever you
getting
think.
value, then this process will ensure that we are actually bringing them to the same level as we want. So it's good for them as well. So it's a journey, it's not a 2-hour session. It's not going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, we're almost done. Thank you so much for your patience and your interest. Do you want to switch or?
We'll open it up after.
Yeah. We'll give you the QR code after. Just want to tell you what we're about. So we want to have $1 billion impact on the profitability of 10,000 companies globally and their 1 million associates. Why? So that those companies thrive and their employees love where they work. They are in the 1/3 of engaged people. And the way I'm doing that is with a group of coaches, of which Shiraz is one here. You can see Shiraz here. Looking good. So we have these coaches all over the world, and we're growing, and that's how we deliver the culture fix, and we help people do this. But look, without even using one of these, at the back of each section of each chapter of the book is a work section. We're going to supply you with the course score, the survey. Please, use everything you want for free to help your organization and help make the world a better place. But that's how we're going about our work. And I like to think that you could picture a day, right, when each of you are leading a company where you love all the employees in your company. They're all in that top right quadrant. That you can picture a day when your company is growing in a way that you never imagined. And picture a day when your customers are saying to you, wow, it is awesome working with you, and you have a tremendous team. And picture a day when you're living the life that we all want. This is a way to get the survey, the employee survey. It comes to a link, and we give you a unique survey for your company. You get the results, and it's all for you and your company. And yeah, after that, it's just really any questions. Who didn't get a book yet? Okay. Please take a book. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, over here. So was this helpful? Did we find something valuable? Yeah. Yes? Yeah. Okay, thank you. Any questions online? Oh yes, that's, if you hit this and you do the survey link, then you'll get another page that says, hey, do you want to download the book? So you can get a virtual copy of the book, and the online people can get that. Yeah. Thanks, Chloe. Are we good? All right. Then I'd just like to finish by saying thank you in the way that I learned to do this in Zambia. And it goes like this. This is the way I say thank you to you, okay? And I give you my thanks like that. Yeah, but what you're supposed to do is catch it. Okay? So I'm going to do it again and catch it, all right? But now you have to give it to me. Ready? Yeah, ready? Do it for me now. Thank you. Yes. Thank you, everybody. Really appreciate the time today. And yeah, reach out. Thank you, Eve. How did we do on time?